I am sitting here today and apologizing. First and foremost, I want to apologize for this morning. I was online and everything went haywire, and we had some technical difficulties this morning that kind of undermined the podcast. And I am truly sorry for that. But now we're back, and now we're gonna make this happen, and we're gonna finish the conversation that we started this morning. And so, give me a yes or no if you know about this. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you are aware of what went down between Vicki Dillard and Roland Martin. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. If you actually followed any of this, I followed it because I was actually kind of curious about it and a little bit concerned about it because I didn't think it was the best way to handle things in the Black community. I don't know if any of you know, but give me a yes or no if you saw this. Roland Martin, I guess he got a little bit mad at Vicki Dillard. I guess Vicki Dillard pissed him off or something, got under his skin. And he basically, I guess, got so upset that she was challenging Gayle King on, the stuff that Gayle's been doing, that he gets on Twitter and he just says, "You're a dumbass." And I remember seeing this. And it kind of threw me off a little bit because I kind of felt like that was a bit much. I didn't think that was necessary. And also I felt that it was kind of fascinating that those words would come out of his mouth, given that he had spent the week telling people that they were being too mean to Gayle, right? That Gayle was being abused and Gayle was being harassed and Gayle was being threatened and all this other stuff. And then you roll out and in the midst of allegedly calling people out for being misogynist, for challenging Gayle on her nonsense, you then find a Black woman and call her a dumbass for her opinion. I don't know about y'all, but I think that's kind of a bit hypocritical. At worst, I would almost say that it's some old punk shit. It's very disrespectful, but it's very unprofessional and kind of messed up. And so I don't know. Give me a yes or no if you agree. Yes or no. How do you feel about it? I see Kryptonite Jones says fuck Gayle and Oprah. Franklin Wilson said, "Oh, if he's from Fort Worth, okay, good to see you." She was on his show. No, she was not on his show. Roland doesn't have people like Vicki Dillard on his show because he doesn't want to hear from like authentic, organic voices from the community. He tends to like to hear from people that I think that he considers to be part of the Black elite, or what I might call the assimilationist crowd. And Roland, unfortunately, he's kind of a real sensitive, very petty sort of person. Because I know Roland been mad at me since 2011. Me and him had a big argument over text message, and I mean, texting with him was really hard. It was really honestly like you ever, fellas, have you ever had an argument like with a girlfriend that, not that Roland was my girlfriend, I don't rock like that, but where like you'll say what's bothering you and they'll give you like a dissertation on that shit. Like they'll give you a 30-page diatribe, it's single spaced, and you're like, I can't keep up with this emotionally. And that's how I felt debating with Roland on chat. I remember turning, to a friend of mine saying, how does a man chat this much, especially a man with chubby fingers? How does a man with chubby fingers text this much? And I mean, how do you do that? And my responses will be like, well, it's going to be what it's going to be. Or no, I don't agree. Right. And then it would be like, right. So I just thought that was the weirdest thing. I don't know, man. I'm not dissing. I'm just stating facts here. So he's been mad at me since 2011, and I haven't been mad at him. I've always said that I think, again, I want to make it clear. I have issues with cancel culture in the sense that I think some people need to be canceled. I think it's okay to cancel Oprah and Gayle for their nonsense. I think that they're getting kind of ridiculous in their white supremacy, but I wouldn't advocate for the cancellation of Roland Martin because I don't think that everything Roland does is bad. And I know some of y'all disagree with me. But I don't think everything that Roland is bad. So anyway, Let's see. Michael says, Dr. Boyce, why do you, as a black leader, in my opinion, okay, well, I'm not a leader, but I'll accept that, continue to lead us into disputes and divides with other black leaders? I think that's the question. I think the question is, what do you define to be a black leader? If a black man publicly attacks a black woman, but that black man is a black leader, right? And he publicly attacks a black woman who isn't just, somebody who's out here really harming black people. Like Vicki Dillard is not Lizzo, right? Vicki Dillard is not, Stacey Dash. Vicki Dillard is if you follow her on FlyNewBeingQueenTV.com, she's about as consistent and as righteous as you can be in terms of standing up for the black community. Give a shout out to Vicki if you have seen Vicki in action, if you know how Vicki rocks, if you know how consistent Vicki is. Vicki's a straight soldier. I mean, if anybody knows black people and will put it on the line for black people, it's Vicki Dillard. She's right at the top of that list. So you're sitting here, right? You're sitting in my shoes, and you see a black man with a prominent position use that prominent position to go after a black woman who is one of the most impactful black females, one of the most righteous black women in the world. Do you sit there and you say nothing? I mean, do you remain silent? Do I say, well, I don't want to disparage another black man, a black public figure. I don't want to, or do you step in and you say no? Or do you say, hey, you know what? That could have been handled a little bit more intelligently. That could have been handled with a little bit more maturity, Roland, right? Nobody's disagreeing with your right to disagree with Vicki Dillard. By God, I would never sit here and tell everybody that they should just follow in lockstep with what somebody else has to say. But why don't we focus on the ideas as opposed to attacking the individual? I mean, at what point, what value is being added when a journalist just simply says, you're a dumbass, to another intelligent commentator? That's the question I ask you guys. I'm not even here to really diss Roland for what he said. I just, it's him being Roland. But I would just say, does that not? Give me a yes or no. I'm asking you this as a yes or no question. Do you think that, given that Roland spent the week telling black men that we were being misogynist by supporting Snoop in his attack on Gayle King, and I told you guys, I actually was one of those people who said Snoop could have said things better. Even Snoop agrees with me because Snoop came out and he cleaned up his statement a little bit. And y'all know that. I hope you saw this, right? So even Snoop agrees that Snoop's expression the first time around was suboptimal, right? So tell me, yes or no, do you think it's a contradiction that a person who has critiqued black men, as being misogynist, for supporting Snoop and going after Gayle, do you think it's contradictory that he then turns around and calls Vicki Dillard a dumbass? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that it's a contradiction? Now, also, give me a yes or no on this. Riddle me this. Give me a yes or no on this part. Have you ever in your life seen Vicki Dillard ever use profanity toward anybody? Have you ever seen Vicki Dillard get on Twitter, get mad at somebody? Because Vicki Dillard goes at him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, y'all seen she goes hard. She goes hard in the paint. But have you ever once seen Vicki Dillard get on Twitter and call somebody a dumbass? Yes or no? Have you ever seen Vicki Dillard get on there and say, you old low-life motherfucker, you ain't shit? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen her get on there and say, you's a bitch, you's just a dirty bitch, you's a dog, you ain't shit? Have you ever seen Vicki Dillard talk like that toward anyone? Vicki would not even speak that way toward Donald Trump. And if anybody deserves that kind of talk, it would be a guy like Trump, right? So my point is to say, you have a woman. Now, remember, Gayle King kind of had it coming. Gayle King was assaulting black men. Gayle King was engaging in predatory journalistic behavior. Gayle King was trying to set up a scenario where black men can be sent to prison or have their lives ruined over an accusation. Gayle King was assaulting and attacking black men. So while Snoop Dogg certainly could have used better language in his response to Gayle King, the reality is that Gayle brought a lot of that on Gayle. Gayle was the one who decided, I'm going to go out here and do what white women have done to black men for the last 400 years. I'm going to go out here and participate in the same lynch mob mentality that has caused black men to be hung on trees and burned alive. I'm going to engage in the same behavior that has had black men get their genitals removed in front of their mother and shoved in their mouth, right? I'm going to do this. And Snoop just said, fuck you. Snoop said, sit your ass down, right? I'm not mad at him for doing it. He was emotional. He misspoke, as the Obamas said. Y'all bougie Negroes forgave the Obamas real quick when Barack was like, well, Michelle misspoke. She misspoke, right? Well, you know what? Snoop misspoke. That's what he did. He misspoke. He was right, but he did it the wrong way. Fine, we can agree on that. No problem. But y'all can't act like Gayle did not be the catalyst for all of that. And here's another point that you haven't thought about. Did anybody see? Give me a yes or no if you saw Susan Rice, former national security advisor to the Obama administration. Did you see her response to Snoop? Did you see Susan Rice's response to Snoop? Let me read to you. Hit the thumbs up button. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're on Twitter, please retweet this conversation because the dumb motherfuckers in the back need to hear this. Just so you know, I cuss. I'm not as righteous as Vicki. Vicki won't cuss, but I'll cuss for Vicki. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button while we do this. And also my website is boycewatkins.com if you want to know more about me at any point or what we have going on. We're doing a tour. We're going to different cities this year, and you can find out more at boycewatkins.com. All right, so let me see here. What did Susan Rice say to Snoop Dogg? Let me find that tweet. Okay, so she said, I'm going to read this. All right, here we go. Snoop, back the F off. I guess that's back the fuck off. You come for Gayle King. You come against an army. You will lose, and it won't be pretty. Does that sound like a threat to you? Does that sound threatening at all? Is that a threat? I don't know. So let's think about this. She's saying, if you come at her, you're coming at us, and you will lose, and there will be consequences. If I tell you that, if you do what you're doing and you don't stop, there's going to be consequences. Is that or is that not a threat? Give me a yes or no. Did Susan Rice make a threat to Snoop Dogg? Yes or no? Is that a threat? That wasn't just a threat. That was a promise. And some of y'all may write it off like, oh, she's just this bougie little lady from Stanford and she can't hurt nobody, because we're used to this idea that women can't hurt men, which is hilariously contradicted by how many thousands of innocent men have been sent to prison by vindictive women who told a damn lie. Doesn't mean all of them are lying, but we know that there's lies out there. That's been proven. I don't even have to prove that to you. But remember, Susan Rice was a national security advisor for the Obama administration. This is not a threat from somebody on the street. This ain't somebody just tweeting and talking shit on Twitter. This is a person who has access to the CIA, to the FBI, COINTELPRO, to the NSA, to media, national media. She could destroy Snoop like that. She could take Snoop down like that. She could make a phone call, get him locked up for 50 years like that. She could get some allegations on him like that, get his brand ruined like that. She could take away money out of his pocket like that. Susan Rice ain't no little tiny person that just made an empty threat. She's somebody that you should actually fear a little bit. right? Because she's on that gangster shit. Ain't no bigger. Snoop's a gangster. He talks about it, right? Snoop's a Crip, right? We know he's affiliated, right? Which was why I think Gayle King should have paid attention when Snoop got a little bit upset, right? Which is why I wanted Snoop to roll back some of his comments so they didn't accuse him of terroristic threatening or sue him or lock him up or whatever, or in case somebody did show up and actually harm Gayle King, right? I was thinking about this for his protection. But so Snoop's a gangster. He talks about this in his music, but there ain't no bigger gangster in the history of this world than the United States government. Tell me if I'm right. There is no bigger gangster on this earth than the fucking federal government. The NSA, the CIA, and the FBI, and the Justice Department, and the LAPD. Those are the biggest gangsters that you're ever going to see on this earth. So when Susan Rice makes a threat to Snoop Dogg, I'm really wondering what's behind this threat. I really want to know what's really going on with all of this, because I got a little bit concerned. Maybe I'm being overly sensitive to this issue. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I'm sorry, Susan Rice was about to become Secretary of State. That is a very powerful position. That's right next to the president. So at the end of the day, if you calling out people for making threats, why are you focusing on Snoop and you ain't focusing on the bigger threat? You ain't focusing on Gayle King and her threat to the safety of black men everywhere when she's allowing white women to accuse us of things without any proof and sending us to prison. If you're talking about threats, why are we focusing on what Snoop Dogg said and instead of focusing on the fact that Susan Rice made an incredibly frightening threat toward this man on social media? Now, if you're going to talk about threats or just abusive language toward women, how are you going to, call us out for being misogynist or misogynist vitriol? I think that was the term Oprah used. When we talking about Gayle, but then you're going to turn around, Roland, and refer to Vicki Dillard as a dumbass? You just a dumbass. Well, I'm not telling him what to do with his platform. And I'm going to sit here, and this is probably going to sound crazy when I say this. I think Roland actually is okay. Like there's bigger issues to fight than Roland Martin. I'm not here to fight him. I don't want to cancel him. I would even work with him. If he called me and said, let's work together, I would pick up that call and I would say, okay, brother, how do we sweep the past behind us and how do we move forward? What can I do to be of support? But what I will say is maybe a better approach to a Vicki Dillard might be to allow her to be one of the many voices that you present on your platform. Why not she's about as gracious as can be when it comes to dealing with adversaries. She's out of the Nation of Islam. And I know y'all saw the documentary about Malcolm X, and then we're gonna talk about that too, because I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings about the nation because of what happened with Malcolm and everything. And I'm gonna just tell you, I love them both. I love them all. I'm not gonna pick a side. I just can't do that. I can tell you facts and perspectives and what I learned, but I'm not gonna get out here and ever think negatively of the Nation of Islam. That's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. But she comes from the Nation of Islam, and what I respect about the Nation of Islam is that they are better at working with their adversaries than anybody I've ever seen. The whole black community can learn from how members of the nation resolve disputes. Again, when their own code, right? We know we got bad apples everywhere in every group. But when you look at if you really want to learn how to maintain and nurture relationships, how to build bridges, how to work with your so-called enemies, or whatever the case may be, I think the nation does a really good job at that. So I think, for example, if Roland were to reach out to Vicki and say, I'm sorry for that use of language. In fact, but I'd like to debate you because I don't agree with what you have to say. In fact, we're going to have a fierce debate. I'd like to have you on my show, or I'd like to come on your show so we can debate it out like grown-ups, which would benefit the community. I think she would receive that and receive that as graciously as humanly imaginable. I don't know if any of you saw, give me a yes or no if you saw this. I don't know if you saw where Vicki interviewed Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson's another guy that unfortunately has a maturity problem. He has a maturity problem. He has a sanity problem. He certainly has an ego problem. He's a smart guy, great speaker, but that ego, I'm the greatest and I'm the most sought after, and I'm going to build a school that's going to be bigger than the whole fucking planet. Like all of that, like that, that's too much, right? But she interviewed Umar. She was incredibly gracious with this guy. She talked to him with complete respect. She gave him the, complete dignity. She honored him in a way that was extraordinary. And Umar just went ballistic on her and starts berating her and attacking her and tearing her down. And I just thought that was unfortunate that men that and I'm speaking on this because we as men can't allow men to just act like that toward black women. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, be a damn man. Like, and he was yelling at her about me. He's like, you work for Boyce Watkins, and Boyce Watkins did this, and Boyce Watkins did it. You can call me. You've had my number for 7 years. You can call me and cuss me out. Call me, get on the phone with me. Like, why are we going after women when the men that we're mad at are right there saying, call me? Like, you want to cuss somebody out? Cuss at me. I can take it. It's fine. Right. So if you want to know why black men don't get the respect we deserve, if you want to know why our women are losing respect for many of us, it's because some of us as men, I'm just going to have to say it. So I think some of us as men act like bitches. Seriously, I'm not calling these guys bitches. I'm just saying that sometimes we see some real weird behavior from our community, and I just don't think it's cool at all. I mean, every community has its messed up people. We know the white man can be as messed up as anybody. I'm sure Asians get messed up too, right? Every community has it, but I'm just telling you guys, it's just ridiculous to me, and I just think we got to grow past that, and we got to call it when we see it. So here's what I will say on this. If you want to know why. Let's speak to this. Actually, before we move on, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, I want to remind you guys, I'm speaking in Hanover, Maryland in March. If you want to go to that event, I'm not hosting the event. Somebody else is, but it's the URL that they gave me is springintowealth.com. That's springintowealth.com. Also, I'm going to go out west to San Jose next month. The website that I was given by Constance Carter is wesummit-boyce.com. wesummit-boyce.com. She put that in there, I guess, so they can track how many of my people are there. And then the other thing is, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Okay, so let me just kind of dig into this a little bit. And I had to just tell y'all the truth on this. I just really think, there's just ways I think men are supposed to handle things, and then I think there's less masculine ways to handle things, right? So I would just like to, I think Roland owes Vicki Dillard an apology. If Snoop owes Gayle King, or if he feels that that black men owe Gayle King an apology, then you certainly owe Vicki an apology. She's never called you out of your name. She's never called you a dumbass. She's never said you stupid motherfucker. She doesn't talk like that. That's not how she rolls. All she did was she had an opinion that you don't agree with, that you don't like. And I think that there are more intelligent ways to handle it. Here's another thing too. If you call yourself a journalist, right? Remember, we all know part of the reason Roland pushes so hard with his platform is because he really, really deep down, I believe he wants to be accepted by mainstream media again. He had the gig with CNN. CNN didn't refuse to renew his contract. Then he started doing his independent internet thing. He does it very well, by the way. I'm not saying that he doesn't do it very well, but really, I think he got excited when he was able to go on the Today Show. I don't know if y'all remember when that white lady on the Today Show made those racist comments, and Roland was on there being a white woman whisperer in terms of trying to get make her feel better or whatever. And so I think he's trying to get these mainstream jobs as a mainstream journalist. And I think that this actually undermines his ability to do that. Like, I think that if I'm, seriously, like if I am a white lady, they hire these 23-year-old blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl producers who are fresh out of college, and I'd be like, oh my God, like he called her an asshole. Oh my God. Or a dumbass. Like, oh my God, like that's so sexist. That's so sexist. Right. And then of course, Vicki would probably just scare the shit out of them because blackness scares white people half to death. Right. So literally they probably be trying to like call in a threat, like call 911, like, hello, 911. I've been threatened by a black person. This is non-melanated Nancy. And I need you to call the police right away because she hurt my feelings. Oh my God, right? So I think Vicki's a little bit too black for TV. mainstream media will probably never take in people like Vicki, but I think there could be spaces for people like Roland. But I think if you're a professional journalist, I don't think you would ever see Lester Holt get on Twitter and get pissed off and call somebody a dumbass. You would never see a Barbara Walters type person do that. You would never see Tavis Smiley just lose it and get on Twitter and call somebody a dumbass. So I personally think that he actually harmed himself by behaving this way. I also think that you're harming yourself. Everybody is when you're not being truthful and honest in the way you're reacting to the Gayle King situation. I understand why you want to defend Gayle and Oprah, because that will get you more butter biscuits. That will get you more opportunities, right? Nate Parker. I mentioned this to you guys the other day. I'll mention it again. Nate Parker. Some of you don't know this. Nate Parker paid big time because he did not take Oprah's orders. Remember when Nate Parker, give me a yes or no if you remember when they grilled Nate Parker in the same way they're trying to grill Kobe Bryant and everybody else. They're basically trying to take black men down on accusations. They're basically trying to get to this point where it's like, if you're a black man and you are accused of something, we're going to treat you like you're convicted, which actually is why I support Justin Fairfax, the former lieutenant governor of Virginia, who sued CBS for $400 million because Gayle King went out and interviewed accusers from damn near 20 years ago without really engaging in due process. So unfortunately, Gayle and Roland, it's kind of like they're in this special genre of black journalists where you're not really a journalist, you're more of a hitman, right? You're a Negro hitman. You're not really there to engage in fair and balanced, impartial analysis. You're there to do their dirty work when they want to go after black people. Like that's really what's kind of happening right now, right? So Gayle, because Gayle, going after Kobe was not the first time this went down. Going after Michael Jackson was not the first time Oprah did that. The only time. Going after Russell Simmons and the way they did, that was not the only time they did that. Justin Fairfax was not the only person who has a predatory story to tell about Oprah, Gayle, and everybody else, right? You can just keep going down the list. I don't know if y'all remember when Gayle used to say that her first measuring stick of a man that she could consider dating is she would ask them, do you think OJ is guilty? And if they said that they think he's not guilty, she said that would eliminate you from the process. Now, I understand somebody feeling that Oprah, I can understand anybody who says that they feel that Oprah OJ might be guilty. I don't blame you for that. I have a lot of good friends who feel that OJ was guilty, but for you to not even be willing to consider the fact that he might have been set up, or that the LAPD might have been corrupt enough to be on some BS is ridiculous. Or people who don't understand that when you are acquitted, that means the case is done. You're going to now get to go live life as an innocent civilian, right? Until proven guilty, right? Or people who aren't even willing to consider the fact that you've got black men who were never even put on trial, who are treated as if they're guilty. People who can't see that, it fascinates me. It makes me think, what are you smoking and what is wrong with you? How stupid can you be to not be able to see what's really happening here? So I think that this unconditional defense of Gayle, this lopsided defense that you're seeing from some of the black elite, I think it comes from this cozied up cronyism that exists where they want to be down with Oprah and Gayle. They don't want to piss off Oprah and Gayle. The last thing, Michael Eric Dyson, no, God bless him. I told you guys, I would never cancel. I would never even vote to cancel Michael Eric Dyson because he actually was my first inspiration to become a public intellectual. He's a little bit like Claude Anderson to me, not in the same way though. They have different ideologies, but I can separate the ideas from the person, right? But when I think about people that inspired me to do what I do, I think about Julianne Malveaux, I think about Cornel West, I think about Claude Anderson, and I think about Dyson. I love Dyson to death. But when I saw Dyson talking about Gayle and Snoop, I knew that Dyson is not in a position where he actually can make an unbiased assessment of this situation. The incentive for him to lean toward Gayle is just too great. So in a way, it's almost like a court case where you have a judge who is a good judge, who's qualified to be a judge, right? Like Dyson, very qualified to give an analysis, but the judge recuses himself or should recuse himself because he doesn't have the ability to be impartial in that particular case. Dyson did not have the ability to be impartial when it came to analyzing Gayle King and her bullshit. And so that's why, unfortunately, the public got the accurate perception that Dyson was being a little bit biased, right? A little bit. You're talking all day about Snoop and protecting black women and all this other, but you ain't said nothing about what Gayle is doing to black men. She's attacking us right now. She's trying to get us all sent up the fucking river forever. Do you understand? Think about this. Imagine if there was, think about this. Tell me, give me a yes or no on this. Give me a yes or no. Have you ever seen any situation in which a white female has been accused of a crime that could get her sent to prison for the next 50 years, where a television network brought her accusers on the air and let her accusers talk, but never wanted to hear her side of the story? Has there ever been a time where a white woman has been fighting for her life with an accusation that could get her sent to prison for 50 years, and all CBS did was interview the fucking accusers? Tell me one time when that's ever happened. The answer is no. Thank you, Eric Toomer. Thank you, everybody who asked. Thank you, Rude Dan. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting me on this. So what you got to do is you got to do some soul searching, man, and stop for a minute and ask yourself, why is it that we accept treatment toward the black man that we would never allow to happen to the white woman? Why are there special rules of cruel and unusual punishment for the black man that is not applied to anybody else in America? Why is it that I can take situations that involve black men and things they're doing to black men, and I flip the race around or the gender around, and you can't even fathom or imagine an equivalent scenario to have ever happened in the history of this country? Why can't I never go back and find one single time where a white woman was railroaded the way they were railroading Kobe Bryant's legacy on that fucking show? Why is it so hard for even some black people to see this? Seriously. I'm not trying to attack nobody. I'm not trying to go after nobody. I'm not into like trying to cancel people and all that. No, I'm not telling you to cancel Dyson. I'm not telling you to cancel Roland. Oprah and Gayle, they own the fence. But everybody else, it's fine. But I'm just asking you, why are we so blind? And why in the hell do we accept this? Because y'all know this ain't right. Y'all know this ain't right. I'm not leaning on my opinion. I'm leaning on the fucking truth. So we're not attacking. Nobody was ever attacking Gayle. We were defending ourselves. That was self-defense. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the share button. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done this yet. Also, if you'd like to support our platform, and next week I'm doing a private Q&A just for members of the League of Intelligent Black People. So only those members will be invited to the private Q&A, so I can make sure I answer every single question. So if you'd like to be a patron of the channel, you can do it for it doesn't cost you a whole lot, but we give you stuff in exchange. So it's not a charity, it's a trade. Go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Also, if you'd like to take a look at some of our financial workbooks for children, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. I'm about to go eat lunch, because that beautiful black woman upstairs makes me these really nice salads with chicken and green olives on them, and I just love it. And I'm going to go eat my salad while I calm down and watch some ESPN or something. That's how I recenter my mind and get ready for the afternoon. But let me finish with this quick point, because we know we've come to clarity. I hope we can come to an agreement that Roland shouldn't have called Vicki Dillard a dumbass. He didn't have to handle it that way. I think Roland probably agrees. He'll never admit it, because Roland will never admit that I'm right. Because Roland's petty like that. But just so Roland knows, in case you watch this, Roland, you're welcome to come on my show. You are welcome to give me a call. I will never talk about anybody on this platform who's not invited to come back and defend themselves. And I stick to that. That goes for Oprah, Gayle, any of these people. They're all welcome to come in here and defend themselves. And you know what? I'm not even going to debate with Roland. If he comes in here, I'm not going to debate with him. I'm going to let him talk. I will let him talk and let him give his perspective. And then I'll give my perspective, because that's how grown-ups talk. That's how adults are supposed to handle shit. But the last point I want to mention to you guys, just in terms of, again, I have a real critical eye, like you kind of picked that up, right? Because you guys know I'm not just a guy running his mouth on the internet. I was a college professor for 25 years, and I still am. I still teach. This week, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but this week, Michelle Obama got together with Oprah Winfrey, and they did a conference. Does anybody know? Did anybody hear about that? That this week, while Oprah's in the middle of controversy, she got together with Michelle Obama for an event at the Barclays Center. And yeah, they both wore, or Michelle wore her bright blue pantsuit with edgy fishnet heels. That's what they said in this article on Footwear News. So they were speaking on, I don't know what topics they were talking about. But let me tell you, let's see. Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey headline Brooklyn's Barclays Center like an A-list duo, getting rock star applause. It's the fifth tour stop of Oprah's 2020 vision, Your Life in Focus. Okay, so that's what they're doing. So they're on this tour. Now, why did I bring this up? Why am I bringing up the gathering with Oprah and Michelle Obama? I want you to pay attention to this. What's the number one? The word starts with a K, and it rhymes with Roby. So everybody type in the chat, what is the number one word that's been coming out of people's mouths in the Black community for about the last 7 to 10 days since that helicopter went down? What's the word? Starts with a K. Somebody type it in so we can chant him out, because he's an ancestor now. Chant out the first name. What's the number one topic that has been on the mind of Black people for the last 7 to 10 days? Because it's been controversial. It's been very emotional, right? It was very difficult to deal with. A lot of people felt a sadness, but then a lot of people felt anger. There was almost like a civil war over this issue, a Black civil war, where you had the Black elite going against the masses, right? Kobe, right? Kobe and then Gayle. Kobe and Gayle. Kobe's death, and then Gayle's insensitive questions, where she's asking about allegations that were clearly unproven, that came from a person with a severe mental illness, schizophrenia, which actually detaches your brain from reality. She was schizophrenic, so she was a little bit crazy. And also she had all that semen in her panties. Like, I'm just telling y'all the facts. Go look it up. Don't get mad at me. I'm not slut shaming, but that girl got around. Her vagina was like a little bit like Grand Central Station. I'm not dissing, I'm not judging, but her vagina was a little bit like Grand Central Station. She was getting it in. Okay, so think about this. So for the last 7 to 10 days, the number one topic on the lips of Black people all throughout the United States has been Kobe and then Gayle. Kobe and Gayle. That's been the number one thing. Everybody had an opinion. Everybody's doing videos. Rappers are talking about it. Celebrities are bringing it up. Susan Rice is jumping in. You got 50 Cent over here. Snoop Dogg jumps in. LeBron James has something to say. The whole damn community was talking about this topic. All of Black America had this, like many of you had conversations about this with your own family members. This was the topic. This was the thing, right? I say all that to ask you this. During that week where Black people had so many emotions out there on the table, had a topic that was so important to so many of us, did anybody see either Barack or Michelle Obama chime in at all? Other than to say, we're sorry Kobe died. I'm sure they issued a statement. But in the middle of the controversy involving Gayle King, the attacks on Black men, the alleged attacks on the Black woman, right? These issues that Black people were all talking about. Did you hear from the Obamas at all? Were they there when you needed them on any level? Did they step in with firm leadership to say, let's work on this? Did they say, let's call a summit so we can talk it out, or we can figure it out as a community? Did they step in? Were they there for you on any level? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. The answer is no. And if you disagree with me, then email me, show me proof that the Obamas chimed in at all. Because the last I checked, they got a big, pretty mansion. I assume that mansion has internet access. So they got Wi-Fi at their house. So they've been reading all of this. They've been watching all this go down. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my theory on this. I believe that the Obamas, what they're doing is they're saying, this is messy. We better not get involved. We better not, we sitting on 80 million a year. We don't want to mess that up. So we're not really going to worry about the people right now because we don't want to get in there. Like if they want us to tweet our Spotify playlist once a year or tell you what we got Sasha and Malia for Christmas or something like that, we can do that. But we're not going to hop in this one because this is too controversial. This is too divisive. This is too, we got to draw a line in the sand. We're going to upset some people if we do this. Now, this is not a diss on the Obamas. The Obamas, they're going to do what they do. Barack and Michelle, God bless them. The Netflix deal, they're doing good. I'm happy for them. But what I want you to really pay attention to is this, and this is just my perspective on it. Feel free to disagree. Leaders who care about your community are the leaders who will get down and dirty in the trenches with you, especially when you need them. Leaders who really care about your community will be there when something important is happening to you, the same way your father or your mother will be there when you graduate from college. Your father is supposed to be there when you have a baby, right? Your mom will show up if you get sick and you go to the hospital. Or if you have a relationship that when you love that guy, to the end of the earth and he breaks your heart, your father does take the time to talk to you on the phone about how you're feeling and help you through that situation. He doesn't say, oh, sorry, babe, I was busy that week. That's why I didn't answer any of your 75 calls. He's going to be there when you need him. Your mother will be there when you need them. And that's how you know that they're down for you. The worst situation for you to put yourself in, I'm putting this on black people. I'm not putting this on the Obamas. I'm putting this on you. The worst situation for you to be in is where you're admiring somebody who don't give a fuck about you. Seriously. I mean, like I said, the thing about that, I told Alicia that I said, ain't it sad? I said, it's kind of interesting how, I've seen situations where I said, I think I was talking about the Obamas actually. And I said, it reminds me of like, you ever seen a kid who has a father who's like, let's say, I'm not talking about the real men. I'm talking about the piece of shit men. Like you got some shitty men out here, right? So, and you got some shitty women too. We know we got that on both sides. But imagine a kid has a mother who feeds him every day, takes him to school every day, takes care of him when he's sick, is always there for him every step of the way, but has a father who calls him once a year, right? Who doesn't even have time to talk to him. And imagine if that kid gets up and he says, Mommy, I can't stand you. My daddy, I love my daddy. My daddy's good. He's nice to me. Blah, blah. And he's yelling at the mother, and she's the one that's right there feeding him every day. It would make you want to like slap the shit out of him, right? Like you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like seriously, right? And I said, that's kind of what the relationship is between the black community and the Obamas. Black folks have this weird problem that I call celebrity worship. We put people on a pedestal and we love and admire them, even when they don't necessarily return the favor. But then you got real people, you got real black people out here that really love you. Black folks that are in the trenches with you, that will show up when you need them, that are down for your issues, that are giving you, whether it's information, their time, their energy, their money. I'm talking about the community activists. I'm talking about the maybe it might be some commentators that you love, or just the Vicki Dillard types of the world who would take a bullet for black people in a second, the Claude Andersons of the world. And we neglect those people. We'll put a celebrity above an activist who's really, really fighting our battles for us. I mean, seriously, you got people that really will look up to a rapper more than they look up to a Dr. Claude Anderson. Rappers sitting on swole, bank account full, got 7 M's in the bank account, like got 10 million in the bank account. Dr. Claude Anderson struggling to make his budget, and he's the one going to war for you. And the rapper tells you in every other interview that he don't give a damn about you. The same thing applies when it comes to a lot of these celebrities, including the Obamas. I measure, again, that's my point. That's my measuring stick. That's why I have so much respect for LeBron. LeBron, he don't gain nothing financially or otherwise by taking a stand for black people. That tweet on Gayle King, oh, believe me, he gonna pay a price in the inner circle Negroes. When he gets around the elite Negroes, they're gonna be like, oh, he's dangerous. We don't want to give him that endorsement deal, right? But LeBron didn't care because LeBron has principles, and that's why I respect this man so much. LeBron, now mind you, he don't take a stand for everybody. Like they asked him to take a stand against China. He said, that ain't none of my business. I'm trying to keep getting paid. And I wasn't mad at him for it because that ain't your business. That's Hong Kong. You got problems at home. Why are you worried about what's happening across the ocean when you got issues right in your backyard? So I stood by LeBron on that issue. Even though I disagree with the Chinese government, I said, man, that ain't even your fight. That's let the Asian people fight that battle. That ain't yours. But when it comes to black people, man, like, can we please give a shout out to LeBron James for 1 minute? I need 2 minutes, baby. Can we please like take a moment and acknowledge this black man for taking time out of his $1 billion life to dive in to one of the most divisive and controversial issues to have happened in the black community last week? Shout him out. Like, give him a digital round of applause. Like, give him a thumbs up or a black fist or something because it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. All due respect to Jordan and Kobe and everything, that was not the norm until LeBron came along. So I just want to make sure we know the difference between the Claude Andersons or the LeBron Jameses versus the Michelle and Barack Obamas. I'm not trying to say you can't appreciate what they're doing. I think the Obamas are brilliant people, and I respect them for that. But we noticed that when the shit got hot, when the block got real hot, you didn't come out the house. Seriously, when the shit got real, when people were really going at each other, when the Civil War was kind of stuff, and it's still going, by the way, it's not over with yet, right? But when the stuff really hit the fan, the Obamas were like, we're not going to get involved in any of this because this is too divisive and too scary and go get us in trouble with the agreement and the partnership we have with white supremacy. So that's just my 2 cents. You can feel free to disagree. I'm going to go. She got my salad ready. I love all of you guys. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, retweet this if you're on Twitter. Please share this if you're on Facebook. Also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Not only do you get the free ebook, but I send you lots and lots of free financial tips. You'll learn more from us. If you get into our process, you'll learn. Somebody shout it out and confirm it for others. You'll learn more from us than you learned in college. And even if you never buy anything, like seriously, like somebody confirm that if you've learned more from us in this platform than you learned in college, where you spent $150,000 that you gave to white people, give me a shout out, please. Like give us some props right quick. Like let people know who are new to the platform how powerful this is and how revolutionary this is. Because I'm not trying to just have an internet podcast. We making black history up in this motherfucker, for real. Seriously, we're building legacy. We are the ancestors. We are the great ones. We are the legends that our children will look back on and fantasize about 50 years from now. Why do I feel that way? Well, because I grew up in a city called Louisville, Kentucky, and I grew up admiring a legend by the name of Muhammad Ali. And he used to say, I believe the children are our future. And he would talk about the children of the future being inspired by what he did now. And I said, oh my God, I'm one of those children and I'm inspired. So I saw that firsthand and I said, I want to do that too. I want to be the next the Louisville legend, whatever it is. It ain't about me though. I can never be a Muhammad Ali. I'm not trying to be that, and because I believe all of us together can be as great as we want to be, but we are making black history up in this mug. So if you agree, just say something in the chat so we can build off that momentum and move forward. No enemy, big or small, can slow us down and stop us. That's already been written by God, and I already know that we have a destiny and we're going to fulfill it. So I love you guys. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Have a good day. I'm going to go eat my salad. And one more time, if you want a free copy of my book, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. If you want to check out our financial workbooks for children, you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. Last but not least, if you'd like to support the platform and help us grow, go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We out. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.